Hey everybody, welcome back to the coding party. Mark Price here at devslopes.com, and today we are going to talk about dictionaries. And what I'd like you to do before we start is actually do me a favor and do a Google search. Type in, how do hash tables work in computer science? How do hash tables work in computer science? And go read some articles and start getting an idea of what a hash table is. And then pause this video and go do that and come back here like in 15 minutes because I want you to have a base foundation. Did you do that? I'm sure you didn't, because none of you listened to me until you start getting to those job interviews, and then they're like, how does this work? And you're like, Mark, you were right this whole time. I should have been listening to what you said and read about this and this and that, but instead I just was hoping that you had a video on it, and but anyway, I went and read it and I got the job. That's what always happens. Don't listen to me, listen to me. Whatever, do whatever you want. It's your life. All right, so I'm creating a new playground here, and we're going to call this one dictionaries. So in Swift, a hash table is called the dictionary, and in different languages, they're hash tables or hash maps, or in this case, dictionary here. And I'm going to go ahead and store this in my dictionaries folder. Okay, there's our playground. And I'm going to pull up in this nice little infographic that Apple has created. So there are three major collection types in Swift. We have the array, okay, which is an ordered an ordered list of items, and you can have multiple values of the same type in an array. So for instance, index 0 can have, let's say, the word 6 eggs, but also index 5 could have the exact same word 6 eggs, doesn't matter. Okay, a linear list, ordered items. Okay, then we've got something called a set. Now a set has items that should only have one type of value, meaning the values need to be unique, but they're not ordered. Okay, but they are unique. And then we've got this cool thing here called a dictionary. Now you're going to use dictionaries and arrays more than you are sets when you're working with Swift, but the dictionary has keys and values. And we're going to have an example similar to this today, basically where the key is of a certain type, and then there's a value that's related to that key. So the values can be the same as the other values of the other keys, but the keys must always be unique. Okay, and this is not ordered. Okay, and there are actually very complex and efficient algorithms working under the hood that help you retrieve and fetch items. Imagine if you had a dictionary that had 1 million keys in it. You know, it's not going to go through that entire list of keys. Okay, it's going to start breaking things down and segregating out sections until it finds the key in the fastest route. Very complex things going underneath the hood. Again, if you do that search I told you to on how to hash tables work, there's some amazing YouTube videos on how this actually works underneath the hood. If you're into that kind of thing. And anyway, so we're going to be working with the dictionary today, and we're going to work with keys and values. Okay, so this is straight out of the Swift iBook, Swift 3 iBook. Very important that you read that book. Of course, I've said that before. And here we go. We're going to create our first dictionary. Names of... That's not what I want you to do. Names of integers. Let's say we want a dictionary that lets us give a word, a visual word that you can print out for a number type. Meaning, like, let's say I want the number 3 to say the word 3, things like that. So what I can do is I can say names of integers equal, or subscript here, the square brace here, and we're going to say 3 equals 3. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is just like an array. This is like the third index, right? No, it is not. No, it is not. This is actually the name of the key. I just made the names of the keys of type int. Okay, this has nothing to do actually with an array. It's not a subscript in that you are grabbing an ordered amount of items. Okay, this is just happened to be the type I chose for the key. This could also have been a string here, which is interesting. So this is a simple example of your very first dictionary. And what we're doing here is we're just creating one on the fly, initializing it using type inference, okay? We're creating a dictionary with a key of type int and a value of type string. I would not be able to do something like this and put a 3 in here, okay? Because the value needs to be a string. Cannot assign value of type int to string. Okay, so keys and values. All of this may look familiar to you from if you've worked with arrays. Names of integers. Let's do one more. Okay, let's say 44 equals 44. Okay, so the idea behind this dictionary is there's a unique key, and then there's a value, a word value for that. We're just explaining in words. So a simple example. If you want to quickly clear out a dictionary, empty all the items out of it, it's as easy as doing this. Okay, square braces, colon, square braces. It's going to clean out all of your keys and all of your values. Okay, nice and new. Let's do a more real-world example. Let's say we have an app, okay? And let's talk about airports of the world. We want to have an app that has all the airports of the world. Well, every airport can only have one unique airport code. Imagine if airports had the same airport codes. It would be crazy. Like, imagine if Ireland had an LAX, Los Angeles had an LAX, you know, and Dubai had an LAX. It wouldn't work. It would mess things up. So luckily we have unique airport codes that we can use throughout the world, and each one has its own name, its own unique name. And you know what? Maybe the airport codes are different, and maybe two airports could have the exact same name, but that wouldn't matter because it has its unique code, and that's the most important thing. But we still need the name. So that's the advantage of using dictionaries, is the keys have to be unique. They have to be. So let's do that now. Let's create our dictionary. So var airports, and this is going to be of type string. So we're going to do an explicitly declared dictionary. So the key is of type string and the value is of type string. And let's go ahead and initialize it here right off the bat. So we're going to create some dictionary literals here that we're initializing right when we declare it as well. So Toronto. Okay. So we've just created a dictionary that comes preloaded with one element in it, or one key value combination. But we want to do more. So we're going to put a comma here, and then LAX, okay? And then what we're going to do is say Los Angeles, okay? Pretty cool. Actually, Los Angeles, let's say International. Okay, so, and I actually, comma does not go there. There we go. Okay, so what is happening here? So we put in the key name first, and then a colon. Okay, the colon separates the key from the value. So the key name goes first, the colon, and then the value. The comma separates the elements, or the combinations here. So this is one key value combination. This is a second, and it's separated by a comma. So key name, colon, value, comma. Key name, colon, value, comma. Key name, colon, value, comma. Okay? And we didn't have to explicitly declare it like so. We could have used type inference, and it should just work out of the box for us, indicating that, yes, this is a string key and this is a string value. Pretty cool. So now we've got our dictionary full of airports. And there's some other things we can do with this. We can print the airports dictionary has, and let's use some string interpolation, airports.count airport, or let's say elements. Items. Okay, let's make this a little bigger here so you can see. Oops. There we go. Put the quotation too soon. So the airports dictionary has 2 items. Is that true? Well, yes, it is. 1 and 2. Okay, so you can get the count of a dictionary. And what else can we do? If airports dot is empty, you can see if it's empty or not. And we can print the airports dictionary is empty. Okay, so you can check if it's empty with the simple little command. And you're probably wondering, well, how do I add new items to a dictionary? Well, since we're not making an ordered array where an element goes on to the back of the list, we're inserting it at a certain place, we don't care about that. All we care about is a unique key. So we can just say airports, let's add a new one, LHR equals London. So what we're doing here is we're setting LHR, this is the key name, okay? We're setting that unique key's value to be the value of the type, not type, but the value to be London, okay? So the unique key LHR is going to be equal to London, okay? And we just added a new element at this point in time, okay? Well, what if we want to update this or override it? It's just as simple as doing the exact same thing, okay? So what we did here was whatever was in that spot, we've now overwritten. It's gone. So that's how you replace elements. That's also how you update elements. Did it matter if one of these key names existed before or not? No, it does not matter, because it will be created the moment you assign it there, okay? So if you were thinking, well, if there's nothing in there and I tried to assign something to it and it's going to give me an error, that's not the case. Not unlike in an array, where if you try and grab an item that doesn't exist, okay, you're going to get the crash. You know, it's different here, okay? What else? Let's say airports. Let's load this up here. All right. Say airports. Let's create a new one. Dev equals DevSlopes International. Didn't you guys know that DevSlopes has its own airport now? And we have Wi-Fi and roller coasters and birthday cakes. It's really cool. And then we realized it was a dream and it doesn't exist. So how do we actually remove an item completely? We want it gone, key and everything, because there is no DevSlopes airport with cakes and Wi-Fi and roller coasters. Although that'd be cool. And we probably had a giraffe in there too. But my dreams are now crushed. So airports dev equals nil. Okay. You can set it to nil, which will completely destroy and remove the item. It is gone. Okay. So I hope you're starting to see, oh, I can work with keys and values. They're unique. I can do different things with them. You're going to use these a lot. Okay, we're just scratching the surface here. You can also iterate through a dictionary, which is cool as well. You can get all the keys and values out of it, which we'll do right now. So, okay, let's do that here. For each airport code, an airport name in airports. Okay, so what we're doing here is a for in loop. Okay, and the for in loop in this case, in a dictionary, it's giving us what's called a tuple. Okay, a tuple is a data type or a data construct that has one or more elements in it. Okay, so it's returning us a tuple. You don't have to remember that. Just know how to use this. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's going to pass in the key name and the value. I could also have said key and val. Okay, same exact thing. So it's going to give us the key name and the value, and it's going to go through the entire dictionary on each one of those. And there is an algorithm that goes underneath the hood that's efficient in grabbing this information, though not as efficient as other ways of accessing information. In most cases, well, in many cases, you don't want to iterate through an entire list of dictionaries. If you want to iterate through a list of something, you know, maybe an array is a better data structure, but you can definitely go through here, and I have before. So we'll say airport code. All right, and then we'll put a nice colon here, and then we're going to say airport name. Okay, so we're just going to go through and print the code and the name, or the key and the value. And here it is. There's the key, there's the value, there's the key, there's the value, key and value. Okay, looking good? Very good. All right, so there's our airport code, airport name. Perfect. Okay. What else can we do? We can also just do the keys and values individually. So for each airport code, or we can even just say for each key in airports.keys. So you can print up the keys, right? And we can pass in the key. Pretty cool. And we can also do the same thing with the values. For each val in airports.values. Now, val is just a variable that I've created, a constant value. And we're going to just pass in val here. Okay, so value, value, value. So you can work with keys and values. The keys are unique. Most of the time you're going to work with ints and strings here. In your data types, you can play around with other things, but one of the big uses of dictionaries is when you're working with JSON data that you're getting from the internet. It's going to come down in a bundled JSON file, and you're going to grab things by keys and values, because JSON is very much similar to the notion of dictionary keys and values. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's just take a look at it right here. We can go to, let's say, Star Wars API. That's this free API that someone's created on the internet that has lots of information on it. And so right here it's pulling up some JSON. This one's Luke Skywalker. And so this is a dictionary where the keys are of type string. So here's a key called name of type string. So name is a string, Luke Skywalker. So the value type of this one is a string. Let's find one that's not a string here. In fact, these are all strings on here. Let's look at some of their other API features to show you how it's going to kind of translate in your code. Well, these are all strings as well. They could also have been numbers. This company or this person chose to put all the values in as strings instead of numbers. So that's really important too to understand, is when you download information from the internet or JSON, you have to abide by whatever they have created for you. So whereas I might have put this as a number, an integer, they chose to use a string for both the key and the value. There's another API that I like to work with as well, Pokemon, or actually Poke API. Okay, another one that somebody put up, which is kind of cool. And here's one, a perfect example. So this is a dictionary object, right? And the keys are all strings, but in this case, the key the key ID has a value that's a number. It's an integer, and base experience is an integer. Height is an integer. IsDefault is a Boolean, so you can have a Boolean value type. So this is interesting too. Look at this one. On this one, the key name is a string, but the value is an array. That's really interesting. Can we do that with Swift? Like, let's say we wanted to create an abilities. That's really interesting. Let's give it a shot. We're going to say var, and let's say abilities. It's going to be a dictionary, right? So the dictionary, or the abilities dictionary, is going to be a dictionary of type string. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say an array. And the array is going to be an array of what? It's going to be an array of dictionaries, right? So let's see what it does here. Of type string and string. I'm just curious. All right, the syntax is wrong here. But anyway, my point here is you can have different items inside of your dictionaries, okay? Such as a Boolean, an int, okay? You can do all kinds of different things with your dictionaries. It doesn't have to just be strings and integers. So lots of cool stuff. This is just scratching the surface here, okay? Just touching the surface. If you want to get a better synopsis of how dictionaries work, again, do that Google search I told you about, how do hash tables work in computer science. You can also go look at JSON and start getting a feel. When I say JSON, that's JSON. Get a feel of how things work with web and how it might translate to your Swift. And that's it. Lots of good information. Soak it all in, and let's move on and forward. Mark Rice at devslopes.com. See you next time.